Okay, let's go.
He wants to jump
1,000 cars. Sir, you have 1,000 cars.
I don't think I'd attempt to try this stunt.
Or we owe this horsepower to Uncle Sam.
Too many cars.
Car.
Roses would be...
Like I put my beer belly on it.
If you can't immediately tell somebody how many cars you have.
You'll really give those uppity yuppies something to think about.
Stay on the bar. Don't go off the bar with your Bronco.
1980 Volvo horns, what's right?
Yeah.
I want a man's coolant.
And he's like, oh, I thought it'd be small. It's for a small car. And I'm like, yeah, but it's still an automatic transmission. They're never going to be light.
It's definitely going to have to crash.
Starting off with Brad buying another car.
That's the West. Internet.
You know, is this a Nigerian oil print?
I also wish you drove a tan Camry.
Anyways,
Anyway,
that's a
horrible,
very
horrible podcast content.
very
Talking about a picture.
inside joke.
It loves to be driven hard.
Welcome to Out Off Topic. How goes it, Brad?
Brad, Andrew, how goes it with you?
It's not bad. We're getting there. We're getting in the new year. We're keeping to our resolution so far to keep making episodes. The second week,
cars that don't run by the end of the year.
I mean, you've got a few more months, so do what you can.
We'll be fine. We'll figure it out. I was just being a little sarcastic because obviously I haven't been able to do anything more at this point than that. So.
But you haven't bought any new cars, so that's good.
Not full size anyway.
Yeah.
I did find the new color release of the opening parts Matchbox 1990. I think it's a 91 in Japanland Pajero. So I did buy one small car.
I bought one recently.
We can look outside.
I saw the they have a cream colored 240, the Matchbox one. And I was like, that's pretty mediocre. I think I need that.
Yes. We prefer mediocre cars in real life and in scale.
Yeah. I'm actually looking at
Andrew.
I've got a pile of diecasts here. I really need to get another case for them. Put them up on the wall. That would really clean up my space down here a bit. Because that's kind of what I've been doing is clean up my office / hobby room. So, you know, that goes.
I've been doing that as well because I'm preparing for the parents to visit this weekend into next week. So get to make it look like my car stuff is always organized. Which, I mean, actually, technically, it is a lot better than it used to be. That's for sure. So it's not that much work, but trying to get some shelves hung in the garage and get some more stuff organized and just kind of neaten things up a little bit because my dad has not seen the garage yet. So I'm excited to show him the garage.
Yeah, we're like,
other than pictures.
They're coming out to visit, but it's also car week, right?
Yeah, they're coming out to visit. My mom's coming out for a few days and my dad's staying through the car week. So all the different events that are happening here in the greater Phoenix area over the next week, all based around, Barrett Jackson, obviously, but there's a bunch of other little things going on. I know Italian Design and Racing is doing an event, so we're doing that one. There's a couple other small ones. The Italian Grocer is having an event. There's a bunch, plus all the big auctions. Other than Barrett Jackson, there's also I think, is it, I'm not even going to say which auctions it is because I don't remember. Some of the higher end, like Sotheby's and RM or whatever, but I forget which ones actually have shows here next week. But
what is the Italian Grocer?
It's an Italian grocery store here I think it's in Scottsdale.
Oh, okay.
They do of course they call it something and something because everything's cars and coffee, right? But they do I think they call it caffeine and carburetors or something.
They do I don't know, garlic and gasoline.
Yeah. unleaded and garlic bread. Yeah, I
Salami
don't.
and saline. I don't.
Well, it's Italian. It's European car,
Focaccia and Ferrari.
not yeah. It's a Eurocentric event, but it's not just a bunch of new supercars. It attracts a lot of 50s and 60s and 70s Euro cars. So I usually enjoy that event, and they're having a special event during Car Week as well over there. I would say the name of the Italian grocery store, but it's something Italian grocer, and it's a very Italian name, and I can't think of it top of my head because it's not like a very English word. So it's, it's not like Anjoli's, but it's something like that, you know?
All right,
Yeah, they
that's
do an
interesting.
event there. They're having a special one next week too, but plenty of reports to come next week of all of the fun stuff that happens in. Actually, probably not. Be the week after we talk about it based on the recording schedule.
That actually
So,
reminds me. So this happened when we were on break. My Volkswagen got rear-ended. It's not bad. It just needs
oh yeah,
paint work. But yeah, I was gonna bring it to your dad's shop, but if he's not there, I'll wait till he comes back. It's not a big deal. This car's
yeah.
it literally just needs to be painted. It's not a big
It's like a
deal.
scuff on your bumper. Is that all set with insurance and everything now?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
They keep calling me. I'm like, finally the guy's like, I can just send you, yeah, just send me the check for it. That's fine.
I will get it fixed. I promise. I just haven't
Yeah,
had a chance yet.
yeah. So yeah, it's also like it's the middle of winter. I don't want to drive my other cars if I don't have to because the salt in the ground, and it's not like nothing is broken. It's literally just annoying scuff. This woman
Well,
in a
somebody
Impreza.
hit you,
Yeah.
so you should have a rental car.
Yeah, I guess maybe that was the reason why I should have went through the other person's insurance. I don't know. I don't have rental car. I don't pay for rental car coverage because I have multiple cars.
Right.
It's not a big
I
deal.
think you can still put a claim in through their side if you just want to be covered for a rental car. But if you can handle it without, then that's also fine. I'm
Yeah,
sure you and Stephanie can figure out how to use one car for a few days.
yeah, it's not a big deal.
So
It's more annoying. It's just like one more thing to do when you're busy.
yeah, no, I understand. I understand completely. As a person who has had an accident before in his life, it's never a convenient time. That's one of those things, like, that's what I do professionally, right? Like, I deal with people every day who are dealing with accidents. So I constantly am dealing with people who are irritated, upset, and annoyed. So
Yeah, I mean, lucky
I
for
get it.
me, like it was like an Impreza, so it was super low speed, bumper to bumper,
Yep.
traffic, and then I mean, she hit me hard enough. I thought the bumper was gonna be off, but it was like not at all.
I mean,
And her bumper
there's
was
a
way
chance
worse,
there's
but
some
I think
damage
she'd probably hit other stuff
behind the bumper
before.
once they get it off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I was just lucky it wasn't an SUV because it would have been into the hatch, and that would have been really
Yep.
annoying.
Way more annoying. A lot more damage, a lot more work, a lot more time.
Yeah.
So
So I got lucky it was a car of similar height and the bumpers actually lined up and
which is not common
acted like
anymore because there are so many trucks on the
yeah,
road.
acted like 5 mile an hour bumpers are supposed to act.
You know, excellent. Not excellent, but excellent that we'll be taken care of.
Yeah.
So other than the big down date, get right into it, Andrew. What have you been working on?
So I talked about getting the different jets for the Volvo, and I actually ordered them. I got them in. Uh, they resumed shipping from the carparts.eu. So I got new chokes, which are not chokes like you would on a normal carburetor. They are in the barrels and they choke down the airflow. So
So you're basically racing on Talladega with restrictor plates.
exactly, they're like little tiny restrictors, but the way the carbs are set up, they came with 30 millimeter ones, which I went through the carbs when I first pulled them out of the box just to make sure that both sets of jets are the same, both venturis are the same, both chokes are the same, just in case there's like an issue, because it's not impossible, I guess, that you could get a carb brand new that had one size jet in one hole and the wrong side and the different size in the other hole. So they were all the same. And I didn't, their stuff's expensive. I didn't want to, I kind of knew what I wanted from the calculators that they have, but I was like, let's just get the car running the way the carbs are out of the box. I'll figure it out afterwards. So yeah, that's what I did. They have 30 millimeter chokes. So these are DCO E40s, which means the barrel itself is 40. So you could have a choke that's basically up to 40 mil or very, very close to 40 mil. Anything. I mean, if you're needing, that's basically the rule. Like if you need a 40 millimeter choke
You
or
should buy a
like a
45.
38, yeah, you should go to a DCO 45. But for an engine like this, where we didn't do any head work, there's no porting, it doesn't have a radical cam. I actually went down on the chokes. So I went to 28s. So slightly smaller. The reason you do that is because of the Venturi effect. It will actually speed up airflow. You'll get less air, but it'll be faster. And that should help with vacuum and idle. And, low end torque around town, which is why I also went with those manifolds, because those are the longest intake manifolds I could get for that engine to fit in the engine bay. Because having a long
You're pretty
runner,
close to the fender well.
yeah,
All said and done, right?
yep. Because having a nice long runner, again, will give you more torque. Because I don't think this engine's gonna get much more out. It probably will rev maybe to $5,000 or something. It's not. This is not a race tuned motor. It's basically a stock build, with the only other thing being a header. So you want good idle and good around town pickup and torque, and that should be plenty for that car. So
Yeah, you want something that comes off the line quickly and nicely, but doesn't need to be a race car.
yeah, and it
That'll
will
make it
sit there and
most
idle for you.
enjoyable. Right.
You don't have to have it, because that's the thing. You'll see these vintage race cars that have Webers on them. If you go to like a vintage event and they're idling at like 1,500 to 2,000 RPM because they've got massive chokes in them. That's the only way you can make enough vacuum to idle. So I don't want that. I want this thing to idle at 800 to 1,000 RPM, a nice comfortable street idle. So typically it's like changing the jets, super easy. You unscrew that little pot thing on the top of the Weber, and your two, basically the way I described these last week, it's each carburetor is really two carburetors in one. So each cylinder gets a barrel. So you're changing the jet for each barrel. And when I say the jets, I'm actually changing the idle jets. I haven't even gotten into the mains, because that comes later once you get the idle. And because really the way Webers work is there's 3 progression holes on the other side of the butterfly. So actually on the intake side. And as you sit idle, it's running off those progression holes. And about like the way people talk about it, it's like they're like 60%, 70% of a Weber tuning is in the idle, because it's really your idle up to mid range that you're adjusting with the idle jets. And then you don't worry about wide open throttle till whatever. I'll figure that out later.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got new ones of those. According to the calculators, new emulsion tubes that were the F2s are apparently for ethanol gas. Those swapped over really easy. I started doing the front carb. You pull the velocity stack out. You pull the Venturi out after you undo. There's a little lock screw, you undo it. There's an air bleed screw that also holds the choke that's closest to the butterfly inside the body of the carb. So you pull that all the way out, and you just reach your fingers in there, and they're a little bit loose, and they just slide out. So I did the first barrel, no big deal. Really easy. Like, cool. This is what the reason why Webers were designed this way was because they were for racing, and you could do the tuning with the carburetor on the car and all the adjustability, right?
Very convenient.
So I go to do the other barrel in that same carb. I take everything apart, take the screws out that's holding everything. The choke is stuck in the bore. Like, I don't know why. I was like, well, this is annoying. Of course, when you look it up on the internet, it's like people dealing with old carbs. Like you spray carb cleaner in there, it's all gummed up and you gotta clean it out. And I'm like looking in there, it's like brand new. Like I've run these carbs twice. So I don't know why it's stuck. It's very annoying. There's
They
like a
certainly
little
haven't gotten to like a huge heat cycling.
no, especially because the other side came out exactly as expected. There's a little knurled piece of brass that's pressed into the original choke that kind of helps it align down a cutout in the bore. And I'm thinking maybe it got twisted or something. It kind of maybe it got caught in the aluminum. So I was like, well, that's annoying. I'll just move on to the back one and figure that one out afterwards because I think I have to take this carb off, which is annoying. So I do the back carb and I do the right side barrel. Again, comes out perfectly. I go to the rearmost barrel. That's the left one on the carb. It's the same thing. It's stuck in there. I'm like, okay. So now it's not something that I did wrong at some point. I'm like, this has to be like a manufacturing defect because it's the same barrel in the same location on each carb and they're both stuck. It's just a
They
really
have to be
weird
like
thing.
knocked in.
When they're going down the assembly line, just when they're doing that side, I don't know, they're pushing them in too hard or something.
Or so you didn't assemble them in there. They came pre-assembled.
They came pre-assembled.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I haven't touched it from the factory. I only took apart when I was saying earlier when I was checking all the stuff, I only took apart one carburetor, the right-hand barrel. So, which I don't remember which carburetor it was. They have been mixed up since I got them. I don't know
Sure.
which one I put front and rear. So whichever one I uh, originally inspected, it was loose, so I didn't think of it. So I guess if you buy a brand new set of Webers, check both barrels to see if everything's loose and you can actually remove it before you install it in the car. But why would I think of that? Because it's brand new. I bought brand new carbs for a reason. And I bought brand new genuine carbs for a reason.
And they're not even built in Italy anymore, so you can't blame Italian manufacturing.
No, they're built in Spain. And some people do say they're like, you go with some other brand that's a knockoff of these, but is like similar quality. I don't know. So I think what's going to happen is these are going to have to come off. You have to carefully punch them out from the back. And I kind of was thinking about doing soft mounts for these anyways, replacing the phenolic spacers I made with it's basically a plate with rubber in it and just gives them a bit of a soft mount against the vibration of the engine. Because we did notice that the heat shields I installed were like rattling like crazy at certain RPMs. So that vibration is going through your carb and it's going to aerate the fuel, which is not great. So the vibration or the soft mounts also give a little bit of thermal break too. So I think that's what I'll end up doing because I'm going to have to get new gaskets. So I'll just do it this way. It's annoying that I have to take them all apart because now they have gas in them. So that's really what I'm most annoyed about is I'm going to undo gas lines, just have like gas spill places and try to catch it.
Pressurized gas lines. Yeah.
Well, they're super low pressure, but it's just annoying to leak gas, right?
Doesn't matter how low the pressure is. When you first break that line loose, that like pinhole that operates first, like those
Yeah.
small little, it always squirts gas out of it. Doesn't matter how low pressure it is. Like
What's
every time I touch the fuel lines in the truck, it's the same thing because it's like it's only 2.5 psi, but it's just when you first start taking it off, when it has the smallest of openings opens up, you get squirted with gas. It's just inevitable.
So I will say it's definitely worth it buying high quality fuel lines. Like I used on the car, the Earl's Vapor Lock carburetor fuel line,
Okay.
which is really nice line you can buy from like Summit or whatever by the foot. The
How expensive is it?
I forget what it is. It's not terribly expensive for how well it works because I bought a little electric fuel transfer pump because we were running it off of a jerry can. And I used that hose that came with that to hook from that pump to the fuel pressure regulator. And in just like 3 weeks, the hose that came from the pump and is attached to the pressure regulator is oozing black at the top. Like the fuel is eating that hose. which is
Right.
crazy. That cheap hose.
That's what happened. That's what happened to the truck.
Yeah.
That brand new, like 6-month-old hose started leaking, so I cut the end off and shortened it, and a few months later, it started leaking again. I was like, "What is happening?" So I bought different hose, but I'll have to look at that Earl's stuff. Is there a different name for it? You said Earl's what?
Earl's Vapor Lock. So that's the other thing. It's the way it's made is that you won't smell gas through it. Like it doesn't let gas
Vapor
vapors
guard.
escape through it, or vapor guard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they have an EFI version, which I've used in the Galant, and they have a carb version.
Okay. Yeah, you can buy it for 10 feet is $80 for 3/8.
Yeah, but you could buy a
So
roll of
it's
that.
about $8 a foot essentially, which is not terrible.
It's not terrible, but if it
Seems like
doesn't
no,
leak and fall
it's
apart,
5 or 6 for the crap at the parts store.
yeah,
So
exactly. And if it
well,
doesn't
I have
leak
to
and fall
redo all
apart,
the fuel lines in the Starion, so I'll probably buy some of this.
I would use that. And it has a conversion on it, I think, for what's close to the metric. So, and then I use their Earl's either sells them or now Summit sells their version of the fuel clamps. So,
They have a big thing of special fuel clamps, so
yes, also use those. They are much better than the worm clamps for fuel line.
I bought because you can buy the fuel line style clamps at Harbor Freight, and they're actually pretty good.
Okay. Yeah.
So I have a set of those. So I have a couple containers of those because I did all new fuel lines in the Cressida a couple years ago, and a year ago I did them all in the truck. But I'm probably gonna do them again in the truck because the fuel line sucks. So
Yeah.
looks like Earl's is a Holly company now.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know where the hose is made, but it seems pretty high quality. And that's the vapor guard is they call it that because like you'd smell gas sometimes from like just the lines, right? They just weep
Yeah, absolutely.
fuel vapor. So that prevents that.
So it looks like Speedway carries it, and Speedway has a showroom here I can go to and pick stuff up. So
There you go.
I'll get it there.
It's a non-sponsored endorsement. It's just a product I found that's used really well. It's worked really well. So
And you can buy 20 feet. It's even cheaper. So 20 feet's 150. So
yeah, as long as you can keep it somewhere in your garage where the elements won't get to it,
yep.
you'll just
Yeah, I'll
have it
keep
on
them in.
hand.
I always need fuel line, so
Yeah.
I'll buy a couple of 20-foot lengths of it and call it a day. Because most of the long lengths of fuel line in the vehicles are steel. So like most of the cars, they don't have like a rubber line all the way from the tank all the way to the engine. It'll have rubber for certain sections, at least in the old Mitsubishis.
Yeah.
I don't know what the Volvo has.
It's probably a big long steel line from the tank to the. That's gonna be another whole project is draining that tank and cleaning out that line. I haven't even gotten to that yet. So
That's my least favorite rescuing an old car from a long dormant time project is the fuel tank.
yeah,
It's the worst.
I'm sure it's not bad because the car had tags on it from 22 or 20 or 22. But it smells stale, so I'll
Yep.
probably siphon it. Use that electric pump, siphon it, and try to put some fresh stuff in there. Maybe like a half gallon of fresh gas in there, and maybe kind of like blow it out a little bit, or transfer it back out. Try to wash the tank with some fresh gasoline.
I have to look and see what the condition inside the tank is. Um, I put the boroscope down inside the Starion tank, and it was kind of muddy in there
Yeah.
just from old fuel. So I haven't done it yet, but I bought some specialized for a fuel tank cleaner. So I'll let you know how that works when I do it.
Is that muriatic acid stuff?
I don't remember what the active ingredient was. It was actually it's sold by boat people. It's like because boats are famous for sitting for a long time.
Yep.
Um, and it's supposed to be like the best stuff you can buy. So I forget the name of it. I'll look into it, and when I do it, I'll I don't want to say what it is if it's not going to be good. So
Yeah.
we'll see how it works.
All right. So what did you do to your cars then? Because that's all I've got for mine.
Oh, I've been busy. I've been busy. I think last week I started talking about the fender on the Ram 50. I think I had the fender hung, but just like kind of temporarily in place. I hadn't finished doing the whole job yet. Um, I think I'd mentioned how stoked I was in the stripes being all lined up. Because I knew that they looked the same, but you never, I wasn't sure if they were going to line up perfectly with the stripes in the door. And now that the fender's bolted on the car, all the stripes are absolutely perfectly lined up. So no issue at all. It does look like that fender was repainted at some point. So thankfully, when they put the stripes back on, they put them on properly. The fender has a few more scuffs in it than the other fender did that I'll have to put some touch-up paint on, but it looks way better than the dented fender, so that's a positive. Also, it does not have a rot hole in the middle of it from the emblem, which the other fender did have, so that's good. Let's see. So I had the fender hung on the thing. I had to put the bumper on, and what I did not realize when I bought the bumper at the junkyard was that the bumper had a slight bend to it. Very slight. But what I did notice trying to put it on was that it's impossible to line up the brackets because you have a 40-year-old truck that was hitting the left front, and you're putting on a used 40-year-old bumper with a slight bend on the right front. So what happens in that case is that the truck is bent on the left where the bracket bolts the bumper to, and the other bumper is bent on the right where it has to line up with the right non-bent bracket in the truck. So it wound up being a much larger project to hang a bumper than I thought it was going to be. It's only 4 bolts to take it off, came right off both trucks, but then fiddling around with the thick steel brackets on the bumper and the truck became a bit of a nightmare. So even to this point, I have it lined up the best I can. It's pretty close, but if you dig deep into it, it only has 3 out of 4 bolts in it, which I'm just going to say is fine and not hit anything because there's absolutely no way without equipment that I don't have to fix the bracket on the left front enough to line up with the bumper and make it all work. Because the problem is not only is the bumper bracket on the truck bent over a little bit, but it's also twisted. So I'd have to pull the cab off the truck in order to have enough access to the bumper bracket where it bolts back on the frame in order to twist it the way it would need to be to line up that 4th bolt. And I don't feel like taking the cab off the truck because that becomes a huge process.
Can you slot the bracket?
So, no. You know what? Maybe on the bumper end I could. Because I couldn't slot the bracket on the truck because on the truck it's a captured like nut on the inside. So I couldn't slot that bracket, but maybe I could slot the one on the actual bumper itself. That's not a bad plan.
Yeah, just give you enough to. I mean, the picture you showed, it didn't look bent from here.
Well,
It
no,
doesn't look bent.
when you look, yeah, it looks not good from my house. When you look at the truck standing in front of it now, it looks fine. Everything lines up as it should. The bend is so slight on the passenger side that I didn't even notice it until I put it on the truck. I was trying to figure out why it wouldn't fit. So, it's not bad. If I get ambitious, I will take the bumper back off, and that's a good idea to slot that hole out and be able to put the bolt in, but I did not think of that, so I did not do that. It's all torqued down now with the 3 bolts. It's not going anywhere, and it's lined up fine. I'm really not worried about it. But yeah, so that's all good. There's no way to access that bracket because it's like tucked inside the radiator support, and the radiator support is welded to the cab of the truck. It's not like a bolt-on piece, so it's just diminishing returns to try to get it fixed. Like the bumper's on, the bumper's solid, it's not going anywhere. The truck looks right now. So then I put the grill back on, which is a bit of a challenge because, again, 40-year-old grill off of a third 40-year-old truck that was sitting in storage somewhere for a very long time, and it's got a little bit of a tweak to it. So a couple of the brackets don't quite line up right. So much like a lot of cars of that era, some zip tie engineering is needed to get the whole thing together. So I put the whole grill in and then remembered that I hadn't put the high beam bulbs back in, which need to be removed to access the bumper bolts. And because the grill and the whole front of the truck is off just a little bit, you can't put the headlights in the truck with the grill in. So it required removing the grill again, which not the end of the world, just had to undo my zip tie engineering. Pulled the grill out. I bought a couple new headlights because it did not have high beams before. It was still the old headlights that came in the truck. I had never swapped them. And when I unbolted the retaining rings, the actual glass lens just fell off the headlight housing itself, of the sealed beams, basically. Plugged that all together, realized that the wiring for the driver's side high beam is actually chewed. I had not noticed that before because I hadn't tried the high beams. They didn't work, and I assumed the bulbs are out, which they were, but also the wiring is chewed on the driver's side. So that project still has to be done, but everything else is now buttoned up and together. The headlights are in. I can access the wiring from the back, so it's not a big deal. I did buy a big container of connectors that are all like the 70s and 80s Japanese car style connectors off of Amazon. So it has the proper headlight connector in the correct color, so it looks factory. So I can slap a new connector on there, no problem. But all the auto lights now work. I never had left turn signal or side marker on the front, and now I have left turn signal and side marker on the front. So that's all good. Everything else works. Everything's lined up best it's going to be. If I didn't spend the past 10 minutes telling you that the bumper was slightly off, nobody would probably ever notice. So I'm going to live with it as is and be happy that it looks way better than it did. So I'm going to call the heavy repairs on the outside done. So success. So that's the truck. It's still sitting out back. I got to finish cleaning it up, and I got to buff that fender back a little bit to make it look like the rest of the truck, because I kind of got over the rest of the truck with a cleaner wax and some time, and this fender was just straight out of the junkyard, straight out of the truck. So that's where we're at with that. Oh, I've been busy. What else did I do, Andrew? We talked about the Mercor speedometer cable and needing a bench vise. So I got that all taken care of, and I got a bench vise. Actually, Naomi picked up a bench vise while we were recording that episode. We've been talking about it before we recorded the episode. I came in to record. She left midway through recording, and I came back out to a new bench vise. So I thank her for that.
Spaceballs thing. What is
Yeah,
this happening?
timing was perfect.
This is happening
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. And it's not like she listens to the podcast live, like she listens to it later. It just, we had been talking about it earlier, and she's like, I'm not doing anything. I'm waiting for Brad to finish recording so we can have dinner. I'm going to go to the store and buy a bench vise. So I have that now. I also got the cable in. I don't know if I had the cable last week or not. I got the cable in, and it's hard to describe. So it's a universal cable that you cut to length. Now, a speedometer cable has squared off ends on each end. I think I talked about it last week. And you cut one end to length, so there's no squared off end on that end. And then on that end, you have to add a additional piece that crimps on to the cable to create a squared off end. That's what we needed the bench vise for. I'm not clear on how it's supposed to work because I've clamped this thing down to as tight as it will go. And it's not the bench vise that I'm out of power on. It's the clamping tool that it comes with is mechanically bottomed out. Like it can't move any further. and it does not pinch the collar enough to hold the collar on the end of the cable. So I'm a little bit at a loss of how that's supposed to work. It seems very straightforward looking at it. Like you just slide the little collar into the gap, put the cable in the collar, and then clamp down on the little metal bracket that it has. But like I said, the bracket is so tight in the vise that it's mechanically bottomed out. It can't move any further. Like the two pieces of metal are squashed together, but doesn't give enough clamping on the little sleeve. So I'm a little annoyed and lost on that because it's literally the last thing on the car to put together before I sell the stupid thing. So a couple more tricks up my sleeve to try, and then the nuclear option is to call a speedometer shop and see if they can just make a cable. I did talk to a friend of mine this weekend who does have a hydraulic press that he thinks he can do it in. But that requires me getting down to his house, which is about an hour and 20 minutes away. So I just got to get some time to get down there and do that. So hopefully that will work. We'll see. So no updates on the Mercor other than failure. What else happened? Oh, I picked up a bell housing for Naomi's Mustang. So that's completing the T5 conversion because the car was a 4-speed. And we're putting a later model T5 in it, which requires a bell housing for a T5. So I managed to get one of that actually from my friend who has the hydraulic press. He's a big Mustang guy, and he just has 302 and 2.3 parts lying around everywhere. So that's good for the Mustang. And let's see, the last thing, I got the Sapporo running again. Last time I drove the Sapporo was probably 2 years ago, and it would not idle. It stalled out every time we came to a stop sign. So that was frustrating. And I parked the car and was frustrated with it and then kind of forgot about it. And then, as happens with life, and you put a cover on a car, once the cover's in the car becomes dead storage in the garage. And then there was a dead car parked in front of the car, and just next thing you know, it's been 2 years. So I got the Sapporo out this weekend because I wanted to go to an event with it and fiddled with the carburetor a bunch and got it to idle. So once I got it to idle, I took it for a drive around the block, and it's idling fine once it's warm. It runs like absolute rat when it's not warm, though. It takes about 10 minutes to warm up, and the entire time it's warming up, it sounds like a cammed big block sitting there in the driveway and smells like raw fuel. So it's going to need some more fettling, obviously, but the carburetor on those cars is notoriously gross because it's, a late model carburetor that needed to pass emissions. So one of the things that I learned this weekend is that on those carburetors, most of your adjustments other than idle speed are sealed. So all of your adjustment screws have to be drilled out because
Okay.
they didn't want people messing with them because of some emissions regulations. So I was reading the factory service manual, and the factory service manual shows you where to drill a 5/16 hole to access adjustment screws.
So like built the carb and then like,
Cast over it.
yeah, weird.
Yep. So that's going to be a project that I will do once the Mercor is down off the jacks in the garage and the 944 timing belt is done. I don't want to. The car does run. I don't want to take it apart and potentially
Yeah.
make it
Yeah.
not run while the other cars are still down. So it's
And
just
and
interesting that that's a thing. I guess a couple
yeah,
of cars had that back in the day.
yeah. And like worst case, downdraft Weber.
So the only reason I haven't just done that option on that car
Yeah.
is the car's an automatic.
Yeah. Well, they have a kickdown
So
adapter.
they have a kickdown on them, but it's never quite right. It doesn't work as well as the factory carburetor on those. A manual transmission with the downdraft Weber is like stupid easy to use. That's a little bit more difficult. And I know I have it in the Cressida, which is an automatic. And it works pretty well, but it just, I don't know. It's not as smooth as it should be. And maybe that's just due to my lack of knowledge and how to adjust it properly. I don't know, but possibly. We'll see what happens. And then there's the third option, Andrew, for that car. Either fix the car, put rubber on it, or just take it all out altogether and put the fuel injection off of a Starion in it. So
Oh, yeah. There you go.
we shall see. I currently have 2 spare Starion engines, so I could potentially do that, but that's like the super nuclear option. That's like
Yeah.
giving up on everything.
Yeah.
We shall see. It'll make the car more fun, but
Yeah, it certainly would.
we shall see. Anyway, so yeah, that's what happened with my cars this week. I had a pretty busy week, actually, on working on stuff. Trying to keep some momentum going here. Oh, and we got some quotes for doing air conditioning in the garage.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
needed.
That is very needed here, and that seems to be the quotes we got are of a level in pricing that we'll probably try to do it before this summer. So that by the time the hot weather comes, I'll be able to continue to keep progress going in the garage. So that'll be nice. So anyway, yeah, that's it for project car stuff. Pretty sure.
Yeah, that's about it.
It's a pretty good list of stuff. Yeah.
We can talk a little bit. We are back into motorsport season.
Oh, wait,
uh,
I need to complain about one more thing.
Okay.
I talked last week about doing the catalytic converter in that Lancer.
Yep.
He went to get emissions. The check engine light was on the day before he brought the car here to put the catalytic converter in it. We put the cat in it, started the car, cleared the codes, all the lights went out.
Mhm.
He drove the car for a few days, went to get emissions. They wouldn't even test it because he turned the car on and the check engine light did not illuminate on the startup sequence.
Oh,
So they said that you need to fix that because obviously you're trying to trick us into thinking that you don't have a check engine light because it's obviously
Yeah.
blown out.
it was Tired
So
Boss. Just passed away.
I don't understand how that happens or what happened. Because the check engine light obviously did work. That's how we
Yeah.
knew it had a problem. So now it's like, okay, well, now I got to cut the cluster apart, put a light in it.
Yeah. It is just a
But what
little
bothers
tiny
me,
incandescent micro bulb.
yeah, I remember stocking them at the dealer when I worked there.
Yeah.
But what bothers me is you can just plug the computer in still, and it will
Yeah,
tell you if it's a
exactly.
fault or not. Like, who cares if the light's not there? Like, they don't just do a visual, they plug the car in. So, I don't know. Annoyed, but it is what it is. So, he's coming over after we record tonight, and I'll look at the car and plug the scanner in, see what is going on, make sure there is no actual fault, and go from there. But can't win with emissions this month.
Nope. Oh, that yeah.
All right.
I gotta go. I gotta get a sticker from the Volkswagen. That just popped in my head and reminded me again. So
Thank you for a scratch back bumper.
yeah. Well, motorsports season has started. Dakar is actually going on for a week. I'm way behind in coverage. I gotta catch up. So
Yeah, I'm on day 3.
I have no idea. Yeah, I'm like day 2. I have no idea who's leading.
Yeah.
But just following it on social media. I mean, the pictures and the videos, they're always epic, right?
Sure.
That one picture a bunch of people shared of the Ford Raptor coming up over the
Wheel.
dune. And yeah, the wheel is spinning. So, like high shutter speed. I mean, like really nice capture and all the dirt's spinning out of it. Super cool.
Let's see. Right now, Honda is winning in the motorcycles.
Yeah. Who's leading?
In car,
Well, in motorcycle, is it Braybeck or?
no. It's Tosha Shirania.
Oh, okay.
Burbick's,
Yeah, it's
Burbick's in
interesting.
4th.
There's been a lot of, there's a lot of gamesmanship with you don't want to open the road. So like watching the first episode of the coverage, they're talking about for the first stage, and they're
I apologize. That was the stage ranking. The overall right now is Australian Daniel Sanders on a Red Bull
okay.
KTM.
Yeah.
And Brabeck's in second.
Sanders is very fast.
Yeah.
So is Brayback. But yeah, there's like, they're showing, they're going through the motorcycle guys, and they're like, all right, what position you want to start? And all the top guys are like, every time they go up, they'd be like, they draw kind of like a Yankee swap or White Elephant, where they draw for like when you choose. So people would be like 16th. And then the next guy that's a top guy would come up and be like, I want 16th. And like, so yeah, you'd keep getting bumped up further ahead in the field. So ideally, I guess if you're a top guy, you wanted to start 16th just because you weren't opening the road,
You're
basically.
following paths versus.
Yeah. Versus trying to navigate on your own when nobody's been yet before. So it's pretty interesting. And then you are sort of penalized too. If you win a stage, you have to start first, I think, the next day. So there is it depends. I mean, they get to a certain point where if they're just keep winning stages, they're like, fine. But sometimes they do kind of not try to win a stage because they want to get different road position. But, that's the way of the game. I mean, it's a 2-week race. So yeah, you got to have some strategy.
Yeah. Just like in any other kind of endurance race, you can't win in the beginning. You can only lose.
Mm-hmm.
So we're on what, day 9 right now, or day 10?
Yeah.
But it looks like Ford is winning in first and second, with Sainz is in second, but
Yep.
only 57 seconds behind.
Wow. Yeah, they
Which
should be
is-
finishing up Friday actually this week. So, and it was interesting. I don't remember the class before, but it seems like there's a return to stock class. So cars that were this is more like the way Dakar used to be, where you'd show up with like a stock SUV or whatever car and run
Yeah,
it.
there's a Land Cruiser and a couple Defenders I've
Yeah.
seen that are just like normal
Yeah.
cars, which
And
is
our
super
friend
cool.
Mercedes Lilienthal was there for a week covering the Land Rover team. So that'll be interesting if we have her back on and she can talk about that. I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then I love the little on the coverage. Are you watching the Peacock coverage? They'll do little throwbacks to like classic Dakars. And they were talking
I
about,
haven't been. I've been watching whatever the YouTube coverage is
Oh.
from Dakar.
well, they were talking about
Didn't-
this in one of the first Dakars. These guys did it in a 1926 Citroen KZ or something, KZ.
Okay.
And people thought they were saying Gazelle, so the car got nicknamed the Gazelle. So like think like a 1920s car doing Dakar in it with like a convertible top, but like open windows. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So I love
Type
seeing stuff like
C.
that.
Interesting.
But
I mean, all those 20s cars kind of all look like the same as each other, right? So
yeah, they're all pretty rugged to begin
Yeah.
with. But it was funny. They were
well, they
saying
weren't
they
any
were,
roads.
yeah, at the time they
was
were,
just to drive to the store was like being in Dakar.
yeah. And the guy was recounting the story. He's like, yeah, we were actually going faster than some of the Land Rovers and stuff because for whatever reason, it was just, little thin, narrow pizza cutter tires. Just get right along. So, yeah, that's going on. And then we're going to get back into NASCAR soon. The big announcement for NASCAR is we're back to the chase. So no more playoffs. It is going to be playoffs, but not playoffs.
So explain.
So yeah, so the big complaint, right, and that we've talked about this in years past, any point during the regular season of NASCAR, you could win and you had a seat in the playoffs. And there was 16 drivers, right? And it started from, I think, when it started this past summer, like middle of August was when the playoffs started because the New Hampshire
Yeah, I
race
think
was a
so.
playoff race, or maybe it was the first one. I think it was the first playoff race, maybe. So which means that you could have a pretty mediocre season, but if you got one win, you were in the playoffs. Now, whether you made it through, that was also pretty hard. But each round of the playoffs was an elimination round. So their gripe was that some really good drivers might get bumped in the first, second, third round, not make it even to the last round. And then our gripe this year was that Denny Hamlin had an amazing playoff run, was really consistent. I think won several races in the playoffs. And then you had Kyle Larson, who had made it in the playoffs from early in the season and kind of seemingly coasted through the first couple of rounds without getting eliminated, then just sort of won the championship by being the top driver in the end race. And it kind of felt like he didn't really work for it. Right? That was my
He
gripe.
did not. Yeah.
So
There's
now,
no worse outcome could happen.
yeah. So now there's still going to be 10 playoff races. What they're going to do, it'll be purely on points. So no drivers will be eliminated, and that you'll have the regular season, and they will crown a champion at the end of the regular season. And the person with the most points so the points will reset once we go to the playoffs. But if you win the regular season championship, you will get a 25-point bonus that will carry in. So you won't start with 0 points. You'll start with a 25-point bonus as the regular season champion. That makes sense to me. That seems pretty fair. If you win the whole regular season,
Sure.
you get a little 25-point buffer.
You should get bonus points.
Yeah. And then during the regular season, they have bumped the race win point percent from 40 points for a race win to 55, while keeping second place the same at 35, 34, 33, etc. as you go down the field. And that is to further entice teams to go for wins versus just consistency and doing points, because that is a strategy. Some teams, and that happens sometimes on a race weekend. You don't have a good car, you have a wreck. You just try to go out there and you run as good as you can and get points. But what they want to have is that if teams can do it, they want teams to win, or they want everybody trying to win, right? The more people trying to win,
You don't want somebody trying to finish fifth.
yeah. You don't want, like what Larson did a bunch of times and why he had a lot of points last season was he would have some bad wreck or something and then just go out and get the fastest lap time, and that was like bonus points.
Yep. Right.
I watched him do that in like 4 races. It was like really weird. So then okay, so here, I'm reading it off NASCAR's website. So it says, are points reseeded for the chase? And it says, yes, points are reseeded for just once for the chase, following the end of the regular season and based on where the drivers finish in the standings for the regular season.
So that should fix everybody's complaint then.
Oh, okay. So I was wrong. They don't start with 0 points when they get to the chase. They are awarded, if you're like the number one driver in points, you'll start with 2,100, and then I guess you'll probably get that 25 extra for being the season champion. And then it goes down from there. The 16th seeded driver will have 2,000 points. So you have a spread of 2,100 to 2,000 points between first and 16th. And that will be
So doing good in the regular season certainly puts you in an advantage in the postseason.
exactly, which is also good. So far, I'm on board with this. Because it solves the problem that the original format of NASCAR had, where the season champion would be crowned in like the end of the summer, and then there was no more races, or there were more races, but what was the incentive to win these races or even watch them? So,
Right. So theoretically, this is going to make it so that there won't be a runaway victor because they get evened out a little bit at the end. And it should take the full 10 races to crown a champion, theoretically.
I hope so. You've got, you definitely, so say you're you finished 16th in season points. You start with 2,000 in the playoffs. That's pretty good. But you got to make up, 125 if you wanted to get to first, right? Which is pretty hard. So you gotta make some wins.
Sure.
So you have less of a chance if haven't done as well. But racing's kind of crazy because you can have a lot of upsets. So,
Oh, absolutely.
and then how are they
Okay.
going to
It'll be interesting to see.
So, and then they're not doing any eliminations. So how's the champion determined? And it's going to be whichever driver in the chase has the most points following the season finale. So maybe they've done the math here that with that amount of points. I mean, does it matter if they started with 2,000 points or 20 points? I don't know. Maybe it just sounds cooler to have more
It's
points.
arbitrary at that point.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
So, yeah, maybe they've done the
We're
math
doing,
to figure out that within 16 rounds, you're not really going to have, unless somebody won like 4 races in a row, maybe. I don't think you could really run away with it, but the odds of winning 4 races in a row are pretty low. I mean, it's possible,
pretty slim.
but the team would have to be really, really good. I mean, it's certainly happened where people have won 3 races in a row in the regular season, right? I think Christopher Bell did it 2 years ago or a year ago. So
It didn't Byron do it too?
yeah, I think so. But it's like, I guess, if you're looking at it, the level of competition would be high enough that it's unlikely that would happen, right? Especially in the playoffs. Like everybody's going to try to get a win. Like it's unlikely you would sweep any wins. So, yeah, that seems pretty cool. And that makes it make more sense when you're like, I remember before when you're trying to explain to people, like, well, you're like, yes, the other drivers are racing, but they're not racing for the championship anymore, but they're still racing and they can still win and like upset the race, but it's less likely. And people are like, what? What are you talking about?
Right, so now anybody can theoretically win the championship.
Yeah. So now it makes more sense. So you're just like, listen, at the end of the season, you've got your top 16 drivers from points. They move on and then they fight it out for the championship. It's kind of cool because
But still, the other cars are out there.
they are, but
That doesn't solve that problem.
well, it's more if
Trying to explain that to a regular sports ball person, you'd be
yeah,
like, all right, so the Patriots are playing the Eagles. The Patriots can beat the Eagles. Doesn't mean the Patriots go on. It just means the Eagles get a lower seed later. It's basically what happens
yeah,
in NASCAR.
but
I was supposed to be like, what are you talking about?
but it makes more sense in that it makes more sense not having the elimination because now you can have that come from behind victory that would be really cool, right? So you have a guy that finishes 16th for the season, starts 16th, and then has a really good playoffs and wins a championship, right? That's a possibility. That's pretty cool.
Sure.
So you can have a turnaround back then. That's like,
Yeah, I'm not anti it. It's just, it's going to be,
I think it's a step in the right direction.
it's be interesting.
I think it's a big deal. So
I'm one of the few that wasn't upset about the playoff format, but
I was only upset
I guess we'll see.
this past season. That felt pretty rotten.
Right.
And
It's only because we don't like
we don't like it, but also
Larson.
like I talked about on a previous podcast. I mean, you watched Hamlin put in the drive of his life. Like that was like legitimately, say what you want about the guy. He's got a mouth on him. He was operating. He was driving at a super high level. Like that was impressive driving through the playoffs. It was a bummer to watch.
Yeah, no question. Man had a mission. He wanted to win.
Because, I know you're like me. When it comes to racing, I have a few favorites, but I really, really like to just watch people compete.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like when I'm watching the Olympics, I may not know much about the sports, but if you're watching a certain sport in the Olympics and the two teams are like pretty well matched and they're going back and forth, that's exciting, right? Just like any sport. I don't watch a lot of football. I was watching the game the other night. The 49ers and the Eagles, they're kind of going back and forth a bit. That was a pretty good game, right? It's not fun to watch someone get blown out. Sometimes it is, but not always.
It's only fun if you care about that team.
Yeah. Exactly. So, but
Like last night, I was watching the Steelers game. It was not fun watching the Steelers get blown out. Although it was fun watching Aaron Rodgers' last game be terrible, but that's all.
all right. Well, I think
So,
that's kind of all I
yeah.
got for this podcast. So we're
Excellent.
we're back to talk about NASCAR. I've got a little.
I did 2 events.
Yeah. Well, let's cover your events real
We're going
quick.
to talk real quick. I went to a Cars and Coffee at a local mega church. My first time setting foot in a mega church. I will hold opinions for anybody else, but there was a full-on coffee shop in the church, which I thought was odd. And it felt like a Starbucks. And then I learned that there used to be a Starbucks in the megachurch until they had left, and they just kept the menus. So I thought that was weird. Anyway, the car show portion of the day was wonderful. Um, Unfortunately, it's very far away, but what a cool mix of cars. There was no like pretension of anything. Like it was like 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s through modern stuff, and everybody was pretty cool. It was probably one of the better Cars and Coffees I've ever been to. Um, it's Rock Point Church, I think is what you call it in Mesa. It was a really really good event. So many Cars and Coffees are now so pretentious. It's hard to like find a good one that has a crowd that isn't either super pretentious or all modern cars. So it was pretty neat. Sunday, however, I crashed a big Honda meet, and that was super fun. So I was unaware until recently. Do you know Hasport engine mounts?
Yeah, I've heard of them. They only make
They've
engine
been
mounts, or
like, well, they're Honda parts in general, but
okay.
their big thing is making. They started making B swap engine mounts for like D series Hondas back in the
Yep.
late '90s.
Yep.
I remember their ads in Sport Compact Car
Oh yeah.
magazine. They're one of the few companies that's been specializing in Honda parts for a long time. I did not know they were in town.
Huh.
So it turns out they're in town. And their location, a friend of mine has a rented garage in the same like complex as them. And they have a very popular YouTube channel called VTech Academy.
Ah.
And so they had a an event at their shop that was, Hasport and VTech Academy and Accelerate Coffee present such and such car show. So I don't have any Hondas, but my friend who rents space in that shop had some VIP parking passes for his friends to park their cars that were not Hondas near his shop. So I was invited to go hang out down there, which is the reason I got the Sapporo out because I wanted to run it and drive it. And I drove it there and back successfully and hung out there for the better part of the whole day. It's amazing how many nice Hondas there are in the area. There were probably 250 cars there, and I would say 220 of them were Hondas. And some really nice Hondas, like super quality builds. I think 25 CRXs rolled in together. I've never seen that many in one place ever. It was cool to see how big the community is for Hondas here. And we were joking because, if you remember back in the day of Cars and Coffees and car shows, everybody complained about the Honda kids ruining the events, right? Because they come in and revving and all that stuff. The crowd has shifted so much that it was probably one of the better behaved car shows I've ever been to.
Everybody's middle aged now.
Like in recent years. Yeah, everybody's middle aged, right? But even the young kids that were there with their Hondas, nobody was like rev bombing and two stepping and all that stuff. It was a super low key crowd. The Honda kids are now G35 kids, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So it was a pretty sweet event. I took a couple pictures. I put them in the Discord. I haven't posted them anywhere else yet. But there's that one Civic there that's actually in the new Gran Turismo. It's like an EG hatch with like a Liberty Walk style or Rocket Putty style. I don't know if it is one of those kits or not, but body kit on it, but it's like a true like time attack car. That car apparently is here in town. Hasport in general is here in town. It was pretty neat. The owner of Hasport, I think his name's Brian. Maybe I'm gonna get that wrong, so don't quote me on that. Older guy, has been running it since day one. He runs the VTech Academy YouTube channel. He actually interviewed a bunch of us non-Honda owners about our cars, so that was kind of neat. But it was a cool community, cool stuff going on. And a friend of the podcast and former guest, Ron, is working with Hasport to K-swap his MR2.
Ooh.
So that's gonna be cool to see and kind of fun to follow that build go along. So they're working together to develop a kit that Hotsport will sell after the fact to K-Swap MR2s. So that'll be neat to see. But yeah, super cool day, super cool people. I've not been to a Honda specific show maybe ever, and it was a really good time. An amazing variety of cars can be had in just one make. So everything from K-swapped Fits, which are very cool, to early Integras, to some late model stuff. I mean, it was tons of like full on motorsports builds. Like it was a really, really cool setup. So blown away there are that many nicely done Hondas in town. So looking forward to another one of those events in the future and crashing it with our Toyotas and Mitsubishis and Mazdas in the corner. But that was a really good time. So watch out for a VTech Academy video with my Sapporo in it. Speaking of YouTube videos, also, if you're on YouTube and you want to see stuff in the Arizona half of Auto Off Topic Garage, there's a new video that a friend of mine filmed over here and kind of like did an interview process with me, walking around the garage and talking about the cars and all that stuff. I don't remember exactly what his channel is called, but if you give me a second, I can look it up. I think it's Arizona Classic Japanese something, something, something. Let's see. So it is Arizona Japanese Classics. And the video says Mitsubishi Man schools us on badge engineering or something like that. So he'll catch that video. It was a good time. I enjoyed making it, talking about the cars, and obviously I will always talk about my cars. So I have a podcast, right?
Yeah.
So super cool. A little bit of visual added to just my voice. So check it out on YouTube and follow the other things. He's just a nice local guy. He's not like a trying to make $1 million on YouTube guy. He just wants to connect the local vintage Japanese community together. So he's done well with me, with a few other people that I'm friends with. I don't know if you're familiar with Zebra Built Racing. They're the rally team with the RX-7 that runs with hand controls.
Oh yeah, I started at the
Get a video.
Yeah.
Get a video with those guys because they're actually, I learned from his video around the corner from me.
Oh,
So I'll have to meet those guys now. Anyway, that's all. That's all I got for today.
yeah. All right, cool. So, yeah, come visit us on our Discord. We'll send you a link, send us a message. On Off Topic Podcast on Instagram. I'm Racing Anger on Instagram. I also have Scale Autocast. I've been putting some RC stuff on there. And Brad, where can they find you?
They can find me at all those same places except for Race and Anger. And they can find my personal stuff at TSISS350 on Instagram.
All right, cool.
And that's basically about it.
All right, as always, keep your cars analog and aim for roses.